Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vachascha Sasa
Aham Chandana Devas
Aham Sanjayane Devas
Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha
Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha
Dobrapya Nivartanta
Dobrapya Nivartanta
Vachascha Sasaha
Vachascha Sasaha
Aham Chanyane Devas
Aham Chanyayane Devas
Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha
Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha
Yato prapya nivartanta
Dobrapya Nivartanta
vachascha manasa
Vachascha Sasaha
aham chanyayame devas
Aham Chanyayane Devas
tasmai bhagavate namaha
Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha Yuddha Prapya
being unable to measure.
being unable to measure
Nivartanta
Nivartanta
cease to try.
cease to try Pada
Words.
word
Cha.
Cha
Also. Manasa.
Masa
With the mind.
with the mind
Saha.
Saha
With.
with
Amcha.
Aham Cha
Also the ego.
also the ego
Yay.
Other
Honor. May.
always
Always. Deva.
Deva
Demigods.
Mind
The him. Namaste. Unto the personality of God. Offer obeisance. Merge mind and ego with their respective controlling demigods have failed to achieve success in knowing the Supreme Personality. Therefore, we simply have to offer our respective obeisances to Him and the matter of sand.
While you're speculating, you rise the objection and raise the objection that the absolute is unknown, by the controlling means of speech, mind, and ego, and the debaters are allowed to be ignorance of divine philosophy. Then why should the devotees be so interested in this? The answer is that the transcendental ecstasy enjoyed by the devotees in delineating the pastimes of the Lord is certainly unknown to devotees and mental speculators. Unless one relishes transcendental joy, naturally one will come back from his speculations and come to conclusions because he will see them factual or enjoyable. The devotees can at least know that the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. As the Vedic hymns confirm, Om Tad Vishnu Paramaham Sarvaya Vishnu Sarvaya Bhagavad Gita 15:15 also confirms this fact. By culture of Vedic knowledge, one must know about Krishna and should not falsely speculate on the word Aham or Aham. The only method for understanding the supreme truth is devotional service, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:55. Bhaktya Mam Vijam Manti Yavam Yashasmita. Only by devotional service can one know the ultimate truth, is the personality of God, and that Brahman and Brahman are always partial features. This is confirmed in the verse where the great sage Mantra. With devotion, he offers a sincere surrender, Namaha, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by meditating. One has to follow in the footsteps of great sages and devotees like Maitreya, Igor, Maharaja Preparation, and Shukadeva Swami, and engage in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, if one would know his ultimate feature, which is above Rome and Paramount. Thus in Bhakti reports of the third canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Creation of the Universal Form.
These topics of our books. It's what Shukadeva would come, even though he knew that King Parikshit was destined to be bitten by the snake bird after 7 days due to the curse of the Brahmin boy. He knew that, but still he went through all these topics. The creation. So I said, what difference does it make about the creation of the universe? There's nothing we can do about it. What difference does it make if we know it or not? What does it have to do with religion? We'll ask this question. But everything has to do with Krishna. Everything has to. Bhagavatam, especially. Nigama kalpataror galikam badam shukumakadam yogi samhitam pivata bhagavatam rasam alayam Uruho Rasikava Bhamika. Bhagavatam, especially, is the ripened fruit of all the Vedas. When there's a question of authority between one scripture and another scripture, which there is sometimes, Bhagavatam is to be taken as the ultimate authority on the sciences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is agreed upon by the great personalities such as Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya and all the great acharyas have confirmed Bhagavatam is exceptionally authorized because spoken by Shukadeva Goswami, who himself is one of the Mahajans. And it was attended by Narad Muni when it was spoken. Even Vyasadeva came. So even Srila Shukadeva Goswami's, his seniors came to hear. We may think that seniors should only be speaking, and generally that's the case. But in this case, it was decided that Shukadeva Goswami was so eminently qualified, and it was such a perfect arrangement for him to speak, and Parikshit Maharaj was attracted to him. He understood now the teachers come, now the gurus come. Sometimes we ask, how do we know who our spiritual master is? How do we choose it? That's an arrangement by the Lord. Ramande Brahmate Kamano Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasad. I on the mercy of Krishna, one gets the association of a guru, and by the mercy of the guru, one gets the seed of devotional service, the plant that will grow into, ultimately bring one to the stage of God. Well, that's an arrangement made by the Lord. It's not a material arrangement, not based on material things. If one takes the relationship seriously, it's as good as the relationship with Krishna. And from that relationship with the spiritual master, one will be able to understand Krishna. Without that help, he will not be able to understand Krishna. And it's stated that one who has implicit faith, Yasudeve Parabhaktir, Tadeve Tatagaro, Saite Karita Hyarta, Kashante Mahatma. For one who has implicit faith in both Krishna and the spiritual master, all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. And the imports of Vedic knowledge about the Lord include understanding his personal feature. Without understanding the personal feature, one has not reached the ultimate. Sometimes it's described as a yoga ladder, taking one to the top, and one has to go up the steps. So one may be on a lower level. He may have the Brahman realization that everything is spiritual, but he can't distinguish further than that. Like a person who's seeing a cloud, seeing a mountain from a distance. It looks like a cloud. From a distance, one may think the mountain is a cloud. When one comes closer, he can make out the mountain, but it is a mountain. But he still can't see the details. But when he goes very close to the mountain, then he sees, oh, there's trees, there's plants, there's animals, there's men, there's houses, so many things. So that is compared to the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan features of the Absolute Truth. The Absolute Truth is realized in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And the Bhagavan feature can only be understood by devotional service, as Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. One cannot reach that stage of realization by any other means, not by speculation, not by simply austerities, not by studying the Vedas. It has to be by devotional service. Then Krishna is pleased to reveal himself. Krishna is available to everyone. Ye tamam prajite tangs yamyam varnante shripartasar. Everyone is available to the Lord, and he'll reciprocate with everyone. But he reciprocates according to their degree of surrender. And if they don't surrender so much, then he only gives them that much realization. If they surrender more, then he gives more of himself. And for the devotees, like the gopis or the residents of Vrindavan, are on such a high level of devotion that Krishna is, as Prabhupada wrote in one letter to me, he said, Krishna is just a toy in the hands of the gopis. Therefore, the gopis one day decided, we shall decorate Krishna. And Krishna is just a toy. Whatever they want. He's already given himself to them. He said there's no way he can repay his debt to such devotees. Vajravadu, Arjuna Kalpita. Lord Chaitanya said that there's no comparison to the devotion of the gopis. Rajavadu means the residents, the damsels of Raja. there's no comparison to their devotion, and there's no comparison to Krishna's attachment or attraction to them. This is how spiritual life goes on. It increases as one develops more and more attachment to Krishna. It's like there's different stages, nine stages. Rupa Goswami has given Dhana Shraddha, Tata Sarasanga, Bhajana Priya. And then one is attachment, asakti, at the higher stage. Then one develops ecstasy and ultimately love of Godhead. And even the residents of Vrindavan are said to have a higher stage, not just prema, but more than prema. Bhava, ultimate perfection of love. In other words, they have more love for Krishna than they do for themselves. We discussed in this day. That's why we love ourselves, because ourself is part of Krishna. It's part and parcel. But even more attractive and more close to us, and a better companion than ourselves, regardless of. But just as here, it says words, mind, and ego, with their respective going there, they can only help us so far. We can't know the Supreme Personality of Godhead through words, through mind, and through the ego. It has to be through Bhakti Yoga. And this is the conclusion that Mother Yashoda came to when she was bewildered by looking into the mouth of her child and seeing that all the universes were there, and all the planets and stars, and everything was in his mouth. And she couldn't, she thought she had it. So she paid her obeisance. Look, that's the only sane thing to do. Because otherwise, how can we understand these things? It's not possible to understand with our Ataksi Krishna's Namati, Nabhave Grihai Brahmanjai, Sevamukhi Jyodo, Swayam Sprajat. We can understand the extraordinary, inconceivable things. The Lord is doing inconceivable things all the time. Unless one accepts the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Lord, you won't be able to make any progress in spiritual life. Some people say God can't do this. He can't. Like they show Krishna lifting a mountain with his left hand. And scientific-minded people, it's not possible. One engineer, we were showing him that painting. He said, it's not possible. Because the weight, he said, would be so great that the child would go down, go in such a big mountain. And then another person, he saw the painting, he said, that's not possible, because he's holding the mountain not in the center. He's holding it on the side. If you're holding in the center, then one can believe it. So they have their different reasons why they can't accept. But if he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can do whatever he likes. So you can carry on discussing, if you like. Or you can read the next text.
I'm going to read this purport again. Translation and purport. Words, mind, and ego with their respective controlling demigods have failed to achieve success in knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, we simply have to offer our respectful obeisances unto him as a matter of sanity. Purport: the froggish calculator may raise the objection that if the mind is unknowable, even by the controlling deities of speech, mind, and ego, namely the Vedas, Brahma, Rudra, and all the demigods headed by Brihaspati, then why should the devotees be so interested in this unknown object? The answer is that the transcendental ecstasy enjoyed by the devotees is in delineating the pastimes of the Lord is certainly unknown to non-devotees and mental speculators. Unless one relishes transcendental joy, naturally one will come back from his speculations and concoct conclusions, because he will see them as neither factual nor enjoyable. The devotees can at least know that the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, as the Vedic hymns confirm. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Param Sada Pashyanti Surayaha. Bhagavad Gita 15:15 also confirms this fact. Vedaischa sarvaraham eva vedaha. By culture of Vedic knowledge, one must know Lord Krishna and should not falsely speculate on the word aham or I. The only method for understanding the supreme truth is devotional service, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:55. Bhaktya mama bijanati yavanyaschasmi tatvata. Only by devotional service can one know that the ultimate truth is the personality of Godhead, and that Brahman and Paramatma are only his partial features. This is confirmed in this verse by the great sage Maitreya with devotion. He offers his sincere surrender namaha to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavate. One has to follow in the footsteps of great sages and devotees like Maitreya and Vidura. Maharaj Pariksit and Sukadeva Goswami and engage in the transcendental service of the Lord. If one would know his ultimate feature, which is above Brahman and Paramatma. So this verse in the purport, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Param Sada Pashyanti Suraya, comes from the Rig Veda. Prabhupada is quoting it here. Surayaha, that word refers to the demigods. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Param, that Lord Vishnu is the supreme. Krishna also says a verse in Bhagavad Gita which goes, Maharshi Chasarvasha Aham Adihir Devanam, that neither the host of sages or demigods know Krishna, for he is the origin of them. Indeed. So only the right to know Krishna is reserved by the devotees. Bhaktya mama bijanati yavanyasasmi tatvadaha. That those through devotional service can Krishna be known. Therefore, the topmost devotees of the Lord are the gopis, as Maharaj was very nicely describing. That these simple cow Vraja, they're actually the topmost. Knowers of the absolute truth. Even though they're very simple, coward, where by their devotion to Krishna alone, they have come to the top of this platform of knowledge. Not by any other means, just by rendering devotional service to Krishna. Unalloyed devotional service by their intense, unalloyed attachment for Him and love for Him. They come to that topmost platform. So, this process of devotional service is above all other processes. It's the goal of the Vedas is Krishna. And among all the processes given in the Vedas, Bhakti is known as the conclusion. Bhakti Vedanta. The conclusion of the Vedas is Bhakti, devotional service. That's we understand that from the Srimad Bhagavatam, that after compiling the Vedas, Srila Vyasadeva was feeling some kind of dejection, and his spiritual master Narayana came and cleared that up, telling him, well, you've compiled the topics which are original to the crows. But what about the Paramahamsas, the swan-like men? You have to talk about the topics which are eligible to those personalities, which are namely the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam as his natural commentary to the Vedanta Sutra, which Srimad Bhagavatam is the glorification of Krishna, Krishna's pastime, Krishna's life, and the devotees of Krishna. So that happened in the mature stage of Srila Vyasadeva's life, and that was his magnum opus. That was his great. That was the great contribution, or the greatest contribution that he had made. And of all the cantos, the 10th canto is known as the Sambona, or it's the face of the Lord. So it's described that the first canto, the second canto are like the feet, and so the 10th canto is like the face. So by reading the Bhagavatam from front to back, one can know Krishna in his entirety. And specifically studying it under the guidance of the spiritual master, we can know for certain of God's existence, and we can know everything about Him, and we can render service unto Him and become realized and further in that knowledge, and enter into His pastimes, enter into the spiritual world, and attain perfection like that. Is anyone having any comments or questions? Yes, true.
Hare Krishna. When studying Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes I'm really focused on just trying to remember every single thing I read. And this can really slow me down rather than like moving through the book. And just kind of get stuck on certain chapters. I don't quite understand, so I kind of go back at the beginning and try to dig into it deeper. Essentially, what's a good way to study Srimad Bhagavatam? If you don't have a spiritual master, are you kind of just more or less helpless in trying to understand?
No, not at all. Srila Prabhupada has given his purpose there. No, so we have the Shiksha Guru. Most important is the Shiksha Guru. So the Diksha Guru is very important as well for kind of solidifying our identity as a devotee and a follower of the Prabhupada system, but we have our Shri Guru, Srila Prabhupada, so we can read his purports. But I think the best way to study Bhagavatam is to chant nice rounds, engage in some devotional activities, whether it's offering the food to Krishna or like that. And then one should, recite the Mangalacharna with intense focus, and then you can begin to study text and text translation or like that. And yeah, if the way that you're doing it is not you're not getting absorbed in it, then maybe switch it up. Maybe spend a little more time diving into the word for words and then understanding each of the points that Prabhupada is making in the purport. There's different techniques of this, but it's a lot. I heard it's a lot like reading a map, or it's like one of those things where the more that you go through it, each time you'll gain more and more knowledge about it in context. So it might be one of those things where you have to just, read through it and then try again and try again. Sure, there's many different techniques. There's many different books written by devotees on study guides for each of the cantos, the Bhagavatam. So those are there as well. And then one can read one particular text and purport, and then listen to the lecture. That's considered one lecture. But there's many different ways to kind of go about it. But yeah, or you can read all the translations in the chapter and get a solid understanding of the chapter, and then go back and read the purports. You do that too. There's different methods. Hope that helps. Here goes your
Hare Krishna. I don't think I have a question. I just really like this verse because it reminds me of Bhagavad Gita verse 16:21. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should do these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. And I think just hearing something similar once again is just very reassuring and nice for faith. There's something very interesting to me about the use of the word sane and sanity, that alone is so helpful for my faith in Krishna consciousness. I don't know. Just looking that up.
thanks. Good. Sure, Bhagavatam, good job.